Hello and welcome to post-match reaction to the Hurricanes versus the Lions. And Ashwin is all smiles, as you can see. Now, he doesn't realise is that actually previously the screen has flipped between him and I. Now he's on screen the whole time, so people can see when he grins and does silly things. So there we go. This one finished. What did it finish? Finished 28-19. To the Hurricanes, getting the win over the Lions. And obviously, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place for rugby predictions and opinion. And joining me this evening is Ashwin, or better known as NZ Fatso. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fine, actually, although battling the old sleep type problems, but so hopefully I don't fall asleep in our post-match review.
Oh dear, I bore you that much, eh? Thanks for that.
No, not you. It's just the children waking me up.
Well, you know,
but we won't bore the followers with that.
just hire yourself a nanny. Anyway, oh dear. So how did this game start? This game started very windy, didn't it? The wind was a big factor in this game, which and to see the posts swaying around so much, that was. And I know someone tweeted me and said, "Of course, that's why they call the Hurricanes, Paul." But it's not always like that down in Wellington, is it?
No, but a valid point in the fact is that once it's windy down there, you got a team that's very experienced in playing those conditions, making the right calls at the right time, and that showed. And as you said, when you've got those posts swaying about, you know that there's a fair breeze in there. And as I said, that experience in those conditions, I thought told in the end as well.
It definitely told on the scoreboard, and it meant that the Lions couldn't come back because they missed one of their conversions, and once that happened, they had to get an extra try, which was never going to happen. But the early doors, some of Barrett's kicking from hand wasn't that great. I mean, he put a bomb up early on, and saw it land pretty much back where he kicked it, and then later on went for touch, but missed touch as well because of the wind. So he did it. It took him a while to adjust as well.
Yeah, it did. But you sort of think that those conversions gave him a bit of the confidence, you know, when you're kicking into the breeze, out wide, and you sort of get a bit of a bounce of the ball off the post and off, so to speak. But it would have given him the boost of, you just start to get that sort of roll on, so to speak, in the my mind's gone blank in terms of the word, but it just gives you that confidence to you're kicking. Especially if you've done a few dodgy ones.
His kicking from the tee was fantastic tonight. His kicking from hand grew. It got better early doors. He definitely had a few issues there. So just a couple of comments. Someone has noticed that we've updated the whole broadcast software, and someone said, good job on the labels, Paul. And I just realised actually I didn't censor the Hurricanes versus Lions so that people know what we're talking about. And in future, maybe I'll even put the score up there for people. So yes, that happened. Then there was an awful pass and hit the floor. You're thinking, what's Ben Land going to do with this? He's in real trouble. What does he do? He sauntered in for a try, shrugging off a couple of Lions tacklers on the way, and that was. He definitely. I mean, the commentators said it, but yeah, that never deserved to be a try. He should not have been given that opportunity.
Well, you bring the cliche out, the classic cliche, something out of nothing, and that was definitely something out of absolutely nothing. And then another point, really, that sort of in that first try comes up is that basically I think the Lions lost that game because of one-on-one missed tackles. And if you go through the tries, you basically, all of them pretty much were because one broken tackle and the Hurricanes are off downfield and scoring tries. That's a classic example. Ben Lamb gets a horrible pass, sticks a mitt out to sort of like, just tap it up a bit, and then so he can grab it again, turns around and then goes, oh yeah, I'll go for a try here. Breaks one tackle and there's no cover defence in behind either. There's nobody coming across, and it was a simple try.
Yeah, and okay, let's go stats and let's talk about tackles then. And the difference is going to be that the people that missed the tackles for the Hurricanes were predominantly Laumape, Proctor, a bit more central where you can actually have cover. If you look at where the tackles were missed by the Lions, Coetzee made 2, missed 3. Combrink made 2, missed 2. Dante, actually, on the other wing, made 2, didn't miss any. But Lamapi also missed 2, but he made 7, to be fair to him. But those missed tackles by Combrink and Coetzee really were perhaps basically the difference in this game in the end.
Absolutely, and all down that right-hand side of the field for the Lions as well. And every time the ball went that way, you sensed something was on, basically. Whereas the defence for the Lions on the left-hand side of the field was actually a lot better. But yeah, it was a bit porous on the right-hand side.
It was, and that's where you're supposed to be better defenders, because the whole idea is you can pass better
to the right-hand side,
to the right-hand side easier.
Yes.
So yeah, that's they got it totally wrong there, didn't they? And you got to say, Julian Sevilla moves off the left wing to the right wing, and suddenly gets and put in a very good shift today. To be honest, made lots of meters, was running, was active, getting up in the air. Defensively, I think was also sound. He only had to make 1 tackle, but he must be going, why can't I be on that side? But yeah, it was interesting that the commentators were suggesting that he would want to play left, whereas one of the things we've assumed all the way through this season is that he's actually chosen to play right to try and get back into the All Blacks jersey. So maybe, I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll have to try and find out, which with our lots of connections at the Hurricanes and all the other teams will obviously be able to not do. No inside track here, folks. This is all just a fan's view on this one. So those two, basically, that's Tad Harsh lost the game for the Lions. If we would go that far. So anyway, it was 7-0. Then Marks went off. Karl Marx. Jeez, no, Paul. Where are you going with that one? Jeez. I forgot what Marx's first name is now. Malcolm Marx.
Malcolm Marx. Yep.
Yes. Oh, dearie me.
Huge blow.
Massive blow for the whole kind of left wing movement. No, sorry, massive blow for the Lions to lose one of their leaders and their line-out man, and their line-out basically malfunctioned from then on in.
Oh, look, I don't think I won't have a go at the Lions line-out too much. It didn't go too badly. They did have obviously a few line-outs that did go awry, but throwing in those conditions, as the commentators alluded to, is difficult. So you expect the odd one to sort of go a bit pear-shaped. But the thing is that, a Malcolm Marx is just another level, not even another level. He is a Springbok, and he's not just a Springbok. He's going to be a really great Springbok, really. So, to lose someone of his caliber, you saw in the previous week's game when the Lions played the Reds, when he came on, he made a huge difference to them and nearly pulled that game out of the fire for them. So, I don't think the replacement hooker, Robbie Coetzee, had that better game. Couple of off line-outs, as I said, in those conditions. That happens. Even the Canes had that happen. So, but, you can't replace a Malcolm Marx.
A couple of off line-outs. So they lost 4 out of their 16. At least 2 of those were 5 metres out from the Hurricanes line. It was the key ones that they were messing up as well. Yeah. It also led to the second try? Yeah, it also led to the second try as well. Stolen line out, ball comes out. We hear the commentators going, well, I'm not sure why their defence was all messed up. Well, the defence was all messed up because they were in an attacking formation, not expecting to have the ball. And so, yes, they've got runners all over the place ready to run with the ball, not lined out across the pitch to defend. And that meant all Proctor had to do, make it sound easy, is all he had to do was give a dummy and run. And Artie Surveyor was there on his shoulder like a good 7 should be.
Well, actually, Artie gave the pass to Proctor, and then Proctor made the run, and then Artie backed up for the inside pass. It was quite simple, as you said. Yes, the commentators. Well, um, you generally do set up a back line when you've got the ball into the line out for an attacking formation. So there would have not been. It would have been a bit of a surprise. It's like, oh, we haven't got the ball. We're not lined up in a defensive formation across the field. Proctor basically just ran straight. Again, a one-on-one missed tackle that basically then scattered the defence that was there even more, and a simple pass into Adi Severe for a simple try.
And if we look at the stats at that point, or in the first half, the Hurricanes 65% of territory, 59% of possession, and dare I say it, only scored 2 tries. They didn't really make the most of to go in 14-7 at half time. You'd expect them to have been further ahead at that point, really.
Yeah, you would have. It was. I don't know. It felt like a bit of a messy game. Tell you the truth, I don't know. It just felt that way. While you're watching it, you get a different to watching it a second time possibly. But yeah, there was opportunities that you sort of thought both teams actually just seemed to make crucial errors at the wrong time. But the Hurricanes with that possession.
Exactly. They should have done. And it was one of their errors that gave up the try to the Lions as well, passing the ball back into their own dead ball area, and Liam Scudder left with nothing to do apart from basically run the ball out. And from the ensuing scrum, and the Lions scrum was good tonight. They got the try.
Lions scrum got better as the game got on. There was early on the Hurricanes actually. And a couple of early scrums actually had the wood on the Lions, and I was rather surprised. I'm thinking, oh, what's going on here? But as the game went on, the Lions scrum just got stronger and stronger. When they had that scrum 5 metres out just before half time, you just felt like that the Lions should have converted, and they did. It was pretty simple formation. I actually thought that Quagga Smith was going to make it, but Adi Savia just chopped him at the ankles. Had to, because it was his mistake that he let him on the inside. He ran off the scrum a bit quick. And then, the scrum half, classic scrum half move, the old dummy to the outside and then the dart over the line.
Yep, very good. The thing that was really holding the Hurricanes back was the breakdown where the Lions in that first half especially were getting their hands over the ball and were turning it over quite well. Turnovers at half time, 12 made by the Hurricanes and 5 made by the Lions. The Hurricanes, were you could see people like Milner Scudder is kind of, I'm going to try something, and he smiles when it goes right, and he smiles when it goes wrong anyway. But he enjoys just trying something. It's not they're not going to die. He's not going to die kind of guessing. And that meant we did see some real basketball style play. I mean, Bowden Barrett made a break, probably was actually in the second half, but he then gets caught, tackled on the floor, throws the ball back 10 metres because he knows there's nobody anywhere near him or with him. We then have Evans, number 8, picks it up, facing the sideline going, I know what I'll do. I'll throw now another 10 metre out the back of my hand, reverse pass, blind, because I'm not looking the other way. And someone happens to be there. There was really some Harlem Globetrotter stuff going on tonight. Some of it came off, some of it didn't. But it never actually paid off in the way of actually scoring a try.
Now, look, it's interesting you say that. It's, the predominantly, maybe the Crusaders aside, New Zealand rugby sides do that sort of play in terms of let's just try something and see what happens. What we saw tonight and last night's game, and it'll be interesting to see if the teams actually pick up on this. They have to go in there with the big forwards, get up quickly and compete at the rucks and maul. That slows the New Zealand sides down. That's why the Huggy Warriors won last night. The Lions in that first half, as you said, with those turnovers, they got some really good turnovers. But then when they did get those turnovers, they really didn't make good use of it. Whereas you take a New Zealand side, they'll get that turnover and they'll do that. Well, let's throw this thing around and see what comes of it, because we've got this unexpected ball. Let's throw it around. So there's a few things there. The non-New Zealand teams have to get up, go into those rucks and do what they did last night, did what they did tonight. But when they get that turnover, you got to do something with it.
You do, but also last night the Jaguares made something like 95% of their tackles. I mean, they had an absolutely they were phenomenally turned on night. They didn't make mistakes. Tonight, the Lions tackling was nowhere near that level.
No, not at all.
I'm amazed it actually climbed as high as 82%, but that's because the last 20 minutes were just farcical. Before that, they were below 80%, and if you're below 80%, well, actually, the Hurricanes were also, you're going to be leaking some tries.
Yeah, I mean, the passage you were referring to before, where Bowden Barrett, just the miracle ball off the ground, 10 meters back, Gareth Evans, no look out the back. I think that was the Ben Lam try where he basically just stepped inside the fullback, who should have he needed to make that tackle and stop Ben Lam. I mean, stopping Ben Lam this season is hard, but but it's what we're talking about, isn't it? That's the difference between staying in the game and building some confidence, etc., that you take out in defence and then into attack. They had to make that tackle, didn't make that tackle. The game was over when Ben Lam scores that try because it's 21-7. And going into the wind, you didn't see the Lions coming back from it.
Yeah, and there was that one Ben Lam where you're right. He had two players on him again. There's no room. He shouldn't be scoring a try. You've got
shouldn't be scoring.
And Coates, just like Combrink went too high earlier, Coates went too high this time. He brushes him off. The second player then is scrambling to try and get him. And if Ben Lam is on his feet and you're scrambling to try and stop him and he's 2 meters out, there's only one result. He's just going to dance around you and put the ball down. He is a big player, but he's not like the bus. He's not like Julian, who'll go. He doesn't generally. He uses it to shrug someone off initially, but he doesn't like running through people.
No, he runs around people.
He runs.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was in the second half. Didn't end up in a try, but it was the English player, number 8, forgotten his name, Brad Shields.
I mean, the number 6, Brad Shields, whereas
number 6, sorry, yes. Number 6, Brad Shields, the English player, hacks the ball upfield, and Ben Lam was quite a fair way behind.
I'm sorry, as an Englishman, I'm absolutely disgusted by your suggestion that it was a hack. It was it was a well executed kick. As I said, a cultured left boot, not hacked upfield.
We're just not used to Englishmen having cultured left foots, in the forwards. But the pace of Ben Lam was against the Lions backs, so it wasn't like he was running against the Lions forwards. It was against the Lions back. His pace was amazing, and it was just that last bounce of the ball that sort of meant that his earshot of a toe hack missed.
I think that it was a bit of a lazy. Personally, I want him diving on that one and claiming it, because Laumapi was diving for it, and basically he ends up kicking Laumapi, not deliberately, but Laumapi puts himself between Ben Lam's boot and the ball, and that's why he missed that one. To call it an air hack is a little harsh, but yeah. So to me, that's I think he could have. We could have seen a bit more effort from Ben Lam there, I think.
From Ben Lam, to go for the ball. Yeah. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Actually, absolutely agree. But the fact that he put himself in that position was
his pace and stuff. He's a bit like Akira Ioane last year. All the attributes, all the skills. Perhaps needs a little bit more effort, a bit more dog about him, and we've seen that this season. The Kiriwani's got much more dog about him, much more. He doesn't fade out of games, whereas I think Ben Lam needs to learn a bit more that's about fading out of games and about a bit more mongrel about him personally.
Okay,
that's because there's lots to talk about him. Let's head down this side road about him for the All Blacks, and why shouldn't he be selected? Well, put bluntly.
Well, look, he's definitely putting his hand up, and I can't see them going past Naholo and Rico on the wings. But the fact that he's putting his hand up, injuries will happen. It's just a case of where, and so he's got his hand up, and he's definitely in the selectors' minds. And the fact is that if injuries come along, he'll work his way into a black jersey. In terms of from a start off, as I said, I can't see him pushing Naholo and Rieko Ioane out of position, out of their spots.
I don't think that the All Blacks coaches think of wingers. I think they think left wing and right wing. And they have separate positions, a bit like you have, like fullback is different. And I think they treat them as a very different position. And I think Ben Lam either gets picked as left wing or not at all.
Yep.
And Rieko Ioane is the left wing. He ain't going to be dropped anytime soon. So the only way that Ben Lam gets it is if they decide to rest Rieko Ioane for the third test, and it's a dead rubber. Otherwise, he's not he's not someone that Naholo challenges Naholo, Neymar and Stella, or those players. I don't think.
And it's a hard one to see him actually being picked in the squad as well, because generally, if they've got their wings, the rest of the squad is made up of guys that could play on the wing but can play multiple positions. Ben Lam's not going to play multiple positions, so it'd be interesting to see if he actually makes into the squad, or, as you say, dead rubber in number 3, he actually gets brought in from outside of the squad because he's a left winger.
Maybe that's a quick. Apparently, Hansen and Chris Boyd don't talk, so this obviously won't happen. But maybe what should happen is that someone should have a quick chat with Chris Boyd and say, "How about we see what this Ben Lam boy looks like at 15, and start him or move him into 15 for one game, and see what happens." Because
look, the only problem with that is that he's not going to work his way into the All Blacks by the All Blacks selectors seeing him at 15, because I don't believe he's got the kicking game necessary for a 15.
That's the point, isn't it? We don't know.
Look, the kicking that I've seen is more of a drop punt style as opposed to a classical sort of, fullback's kick.
A classical Shields off the culture left boot kick, you mean?
The Englishman Shields.
Look, he's even got a shield of armour. Oh!
Ba-boom.
Anyway, so that put it
these are dad jokes to me.
So that's 45 minutes. The Canes are still making breaks at that point, but not managing to finish them off. Eventually, they went to the right, went to the left. Ben easy just catch and pass, and the Lions ran out of defenders, and Ben Lam just walks into the corner. Finished the game.
Man, that catch and passing though was a top shelf catch and passing though, wasn't it? It was under pressure. There was defenders coming up at them. The timing of the passes was brilliant. The running onto the ball in front of the man. He's not stopping to catch the ball and then having no momentum. He's not trying to catch the ball behind him. The passing was pinpoint. The running and the timing of the run was pinpoint. It was that was fantastic advertisement for how to do it.
Maybe so, but that's Basically, the Lions just ran out of defenders, and he went in pretty much untouched. Then,
he did.
Yeah,
yeah.
Then basically we had the restart. That got fluffed, and the Lions bashed their way over.
And you see that, and they were like basically going through melted butter, the way they scored that try, and you wonder, the forwards made progress so easily. Why wouldn't? And that's where their power was, and they did have the wood on the Hurricanes up front. I felt. Why wouldn't you use that more? Apart from the fact that they'd make those silly little knock-ons and the like, but that's where their strength is, and they seem to move away from it. It's about winning the game. Play 10-man rugby if you have to. You don't have to do razzle-dazzle rugby. It's about how you can win it. And their best option to win games is to beat the opposition forwards up.
Yeah, I think it was a matter of they just never had the territory, and trying to play 10-man rugby from your own half it's an awfully long way to go.
It is.
So that I think it's probably more that than anything else.
But it's the accuracy as well. It's that you can, if you can, it's a long way to go into the wind, but if the accuracy's there, like the Crusaders, then you'll you can do it. But the problem is that they'll go up 10 meters or 15 meters even, and one of the guys will just do that little knock on, and it's just like all that hard work's gone.
Yep, true. There is definitely that side of things as well. Is that the accuracy wasn't there tonight, and we could probably see that by. I was going to try. I was going to say by the number of scrums, but yeah, I mean both sides had 7 scrums, but that's I say it all fell apart in that last 20 minutes where a lot of those scrums were, and the Hurricanes just kept on giving up penalties at those scrums as well.
Yeah, look, the game sort of lost shape with the reserves coming on in the last 20.
Yep.
Yeah, and it felt like the Lions were coming back into it, but really it was just a game with no shape. The Lions coming back into it, as you suggest, was basically off the back of the scrum penalties because they really just got totally dominant in that phase of the game.
Yep, they did, and it was enlightening to see how the Crusaders scrum, how the Canes scrum didn't work that out quickly. And that ball was way too slow coming out. You saw the ball would go in, the scrum half would run away from the scrum. You're like, what are you doing? No, this should have been a route one ball to you, picking it straight out the scrum and it goes. But I just don't get that how that didn't click.
I don't understand. Now that the hooker has to hook the ball, if the hooker doesn't get the opportunity to hook the ball, then the team putting the ball in will get a free kick. My understanding. So
no, he's got no. If the hooker doesn't hook the ball, the team putting the ball in, the team who put the ball in that's a foul against them, and the opposition gets a free kick.
But he's got to have that ability to be able to do it. So he's got to before the ball comes in, you can't push.
Correct.
So basically, there should be 2 locks open up. And the hooker just basically hooks it and fires it back through that channel out the back of the scrum as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Used to happen in the old days when the scrum was under pressure. You basically just created that channel so that the hooker could smash the ball out the back of the scrum effectively. And they sort of haven't really worked that one out yet.
And we've seen other teams do it. I'm trying to think who it was the other night, that was probably last week, where there was a team that was under pressure the whole night, but they won all their scrums because they just got it out quick.
Yep.
But we just, the Canes just didn't twig, and and you think, come on, guys, there needs to be some leadership here by your front row. But I guess they're missing their first and third or first and second choice hookers, so maybe that's part of it, and they're also missing their first choice scrum half. So there is a lot of leadership lacking in that area, but somebody needed to step up.
The interesting that it did change a little bit when they brought I've forgotten the halfback's name, Booth, on, and then all of a sudden the scrum was still going backwards, but they were able to get the ball back and clear it. Which I scratched my head, tell you the truth. It's like, how's changing the halfback change that?
Because he's come on and told them what he wants them to do. Whereas the other guys, too young and inexperienced, and gone, I don't know what to say. Yeah, get me the ball quick. It's getting out of here. Enough of the macho BS. Yeah, sorry forwards. Yeah, when this is when you're losing. So forget it.
Give me the ball.
Give me the ball. Yep. Cool. There was a late try late on for the Lions, which was basically a turnover, popped out the side of a ruck, and he showed a clean pair of heels to everyone else. A bit interesting, he hadn't come on earlier because I say Combrick to me had a bad game, especially defensively. So but yeah, his replacement, I say, showed a clear pair of heels. Went off to score the try to finish the game at 28-19. And interestingly, to see a team, a New Zealand team, there's nothing to play for, but quite often New Zealand teams will just play anyway because, hey, why not? But then they tapped and kicked it out to kill the game or to finish the game off. And yeah. Which was the right
to tell you the truth, they should be doing that. That's what should be done. It's a professional game now, and so they need to do that, because the fact is that the last thing you want to do is that we've won the game, we've got nothing to actually, there's no bonus point or anything to be able to get out of the game. So, and we play on and somebody gets injured. And that's just the worst thing in a professional environment now that could happen. When there's nothing to gain, you get a player injured because you played on when you should have kicked it out and ended the game.
Yep, true. So any players you want to call out?
Oh, look, I suppose on the Hurricane side, I mean, we've spoken about him. He's come up, Ben Lamb. He's why people tune in to watch at the moment with the Canes in particular. When he gets the ball, you just want to see what he can do. And so there's Ben Lamb on that side. Conversely, on the Lions side, I was disappointed. I'm not going to try and attempt to say his name, but the prolific try-scoring winger. I just thought that they just didn't get him into the game, and he has got ability, he has got a step, and if he gets half a gap, he can convert, but they really just don't give him the opportunity.
Yeah, so Dante's the guy you're talking about, and it's quite telling. If you look at Coetzee 4 runs, Combrink 4 runs, Dante 6 runs, and you compare that to the Hurricanes, Milner Scudder 7 runs, Julian Sevilla 10 runs, Ben Lamb 12 runs. Yeah, they definitely got the ball out to their wingers to have a go much more than the Lions did.
Interesting in that with the runs that you're mentioning, yeah, you also got I saw the stat that Beauden Barrett was actually the highest meters run in the Cane side with 100, and it's just like, it just shows the style of game that they play. They're not really a kick the ball. It's a run the ball first mentality, basically. Obviously, if he's running that many meters.
There's an element of that. There's also an element of he plays a lot of fullback, especially on defence. He plays a lot of receiving the ball, and he's not in that traditional fly half position the whole time. They're more than happy especially in defence. Yeah. They're more than happy to have someone else in there, and also they're comfortable to have someone else in there for first phase on attack as well. Now, normally it's Geordie Barrett stepping in there, so today they perhaps didn't have the game making or the releasing of players that you'd normally have in there, because Milner Scudder doesn't have that kind of Milner Scudder, Lamapi. They don't have that kind of passing ability. They can pass, don't get me wrong, but they're not going to throw a pass to miss. They're not going to cut out 3 players or bullet one across the line in the same way that your Beauden Barretts or your traditional fly halves will.
Fly halves going to do.
Yep.
True.
So he did get 100 metres off those 7 runs, but I think some of those are sort of the kind of
kick return
free metres that you can get. So quite often fullbacks will have the most metres for a team.
It's good heads up rugby though, isn't it? Because it's like, it's using your players in the best part of just because he's got a number on his back doesn't mean that he has to stand there all the time.
True. Yep. Yep. Very true. We obviously the player that Schumann was talked about quite a lot. It was I was surprised to see Quagga Smith at 8 because he's normally a 7 or a 6. So they definitely they picked a mobile back row, but it didn't play off in the end.
Too many years. Simple as that. Too many years. You did see some things starting to form, and then a little mistake would be made.
Yep. And the Hurricanes did too, but that's because they're trying things, and the Hurricanes made 19 turnovers to the 12 Lions. And this is what I say there, that Milner Scudders, they're trying stuff, and they're probably trying too much. And I think they'd try a little less in a test match, but in this kind of game, they'll give it a go.
In terms of the trying in the Hurricanes, basically, you're saying they had the higher error rate or higher turnovers?
Yep.
Yeah, but I think it's a case of when and where they make those turnovers. The turnovers for the Lions seem to come when, hey, they're on attack, they're starting to form something here, and the little mistake comes. And I think that was, it's crucial. It kills you, basically. You're just starting to get some momentum and you make that mistake. Whereas the Canes, some of those turnovers obviously early on in the game when they actually, the Lucies for the Lions got the ball on turnover, but, and you could say there was momentum there, but the Lions, I think, just like here, they've got some gaps starting to appear and they'll have that little knock on or a poor pass.
Cool. Well, I think I've covered it off just about everything I wanted to say. Anything less for yourself?
No, that's, I think we've sort of covered off the game, really. It's sort of, the Canes really, the scoreboard won't show it, but it didn't ever feel like the Canes were going to lose it.
No, that's very true. They definitely weren't. Now, let people know where they can get hold of you during the week for a good old rugby chat.
They can get a hold of me at NZFatso on Twitter, and obviously generally on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on YouTube at DrivingMaul.
And this coming week, a Wednesday night at 8 p.m. for a brand new DrivingMaul All Blacks show. We haven't agreed on the name of it yet, but tune in on Wednesday night for that. Find out. Yes, exactly. Oh, wow. Look at that. Teasers. We're even getting professional about this kind of stuff. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul. As I said, always up for good rugby chat. Links down below. Comments down below. Or check me out at DrivingMaul on Twitter. And enjoy whatever rugby you're watching this weekend.